So yes, Tasting 101. She's referring to our board. We have a board behind here that helps us kind of get through the show. Otherwise, we'd be crazy.
Just more rambling than we already
More
do.
rambling than we already are. Let's go to Wildside Winery, Emily, and let's check out
the expert here, the real expert.
Yes,
yeah,
totally.
What's up, Woodford? We're out here at Wildside Winery today. Corey has given me some signals, some baseball, third base coach moves. I don't know what's going on. He's saying action. Anyway, we are here at Wildside Winery with Elisha Holt again this month in March so that we can wrap up the month with actually telling you guys from the expert how to do a proper tasting. Corey and I have been struggling for months now, Elisha. You've got to help us.
Finally, we've been promising people we're going to come and do this to get a crash course in tasting, but it's time. It's time.
Yes, it's time.
With my favorite wine.
That's right. Elisha graced him with the BBR, Corey's favorite wine. We all know that's his fave. Okay, Elisha, we're here. We got our glasses of wine poured. What's the first thing that we do?
Well, the first thing that I would recommend you do is you take one of these lovely oyster crackers that I've put in this container in front of you. So that you can cleanse your palate of anything that might have been there already. Maybe you were chewing gum. Maybe you were eating a Lifesaver. Maybe you had onions with your burger at lunch. So either way, you want to come in. You want to start with your cracker.
It's burger time. That could have happened.
It is Burger Week, right?
So what does it do? Why does it cleanse my palate? The salt?
It just neutralizes anything that's there. So yeah, and that's really what you want to do. So.
Right.
It really just makes you thirsty, I think.
It helps. It helps. It's not going to hurt anything, I assure you. So now that you have a really dry mouth because you just ate a cracker. No, so what you want to do is you want to take your glass of wine. Of course, normally you would have about 8 pours in front of you if you were doing a proper tasting at the winery. But you're going to take your first option. You want to swirl it around your glass. You guys were doing this. You were doing a good job, I thought.
Okay,
so you were
okay.
swirling it. And then you want to stick your nose inside the rim of the glass.
Sorry, why do you swirl it?
Because
Excuse
that's
me?
going to...
Can you hear me?
Sorry, I could share my mic with you. So you want to swirl it to really open up those notes of the wine that's in there. You see it's been in this bottle. Our goal when it's in the bottle is to keep as little oxygen in there as possible. So you see we have this nifty sort of lid here that we put on it. So you put that in. We actually have a pump that pumps all the air back out of it. So now that you have it in your glass and you want to taste it, you swirl it around. It's going to kind of aerate it a bit for you. I'm sure you guys have seen aerators.
Yeah.
So this is going to give you a little bit of that aeration.
Okay.
And then you want to put it on your lips. And don't take a glass or a gulp. Take a little sip, just enough to coat your tongue.
Corey, we're all going to watch him.
Such
She
anticipation.
said, don't chug it, Corey.
Just a sip. Just coat your tongue in the BBR.
So bourbon, and I do it with beer too, and I think I find myself doing it with the wine, is I open my mouth and I just inhale it through my nose just so I can taste, and so is that
Absolutely.
the same thing with wine? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
When you have, you know those wine pitchers, or I guess that's what you're calling them, like a decanter kind of thing where you have it out, and so it's open and it's in like a kind of a big bottom and it goes up. Does that aerate it? Is that what that's for?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the purpose. So, and of course you wouldn't want to do that too early. I mean, anytime that you have air on your wine, then ultimately it could oxidize, and you don't want that to happen. So if you're going to aerate a nice bottle of wine, you want to do that right before your guests arrive for dinner. So that's
Gotcha.
not something you want to
Good
do
tip.
3 hours ahead of time or 4 hours. Like I would do it right before they get there, and so that's going to allow it time to aerate, but not give it any time to really expose to that oxygen too much.
Oh,
So-
good tip. And then how long after you open a bottle of wine and say, Corey and I don't know this because we usually, I think at our houses.
Because
it's
corks
like,
are for quitters.
Yeah,
Right?
that's right. We don't have this problem. But if somebody doesn't drink it and you just wanted to reseal it with a resealable cork, how many days is it usually good?
So it's going to vary depending on the type of wine that you have. Of course, anytime somebody comes into Wildside, when they're tasting one of our wines, we want them to taste the most delicious version possible. We want it to be good enough that they enjoy it and they purchase a bottle and take it home. So with our red wines, our dry red wines, those are going to be open 3 to 4 days, then they're out.
Okay.
Your sweet wines.
So they're out. You mean like you guys just get rid of them?
We get rid of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. So, because again, if you've never been here and you've never tasted the BBR, if I give you 7-day-old BBR, you're going to be like, I'm going to pass.
So are you hiring for that job like in the Flintstones?
No.
In the Flintstones where they have the sink and they have like that pig underneath the sink that eats all their disposal garbage? Can I be underneath the sink? Like,
This is the Wildside Winery disposal.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Fair question, Corey.
It's a fair question. I agree. But so on your dry reds, it's going to be that. On your because everything else goes into the cooler. So the dry reds are the dry reds and the ports are the only ones that stay out. Your dry whites, your sweet whites, your fruit wines, your sweet reds, and your blushes all are refrigerated. So because of being in a refrigerator, they last a little longer. Okay. So typically those you're going to go 5 or 6 days.
Gotcha.
Another important thing though, so let's say this bottle of BBR is open. You can see there's not very much taken out of it. So there's less oxygen in there. If you have a seal like this and you pump it, then it's going to stay good longer. Whereas if this were, let's say we got it all the way down so there's just one glass left in the bottom, and we just stick a normal cork in it, then in 3 days it might taste terrible because there's lots of oxygen. Not terrible, but you know what I mean. It's not going to give it that.
Yeah.
Corey would probably still drink
it's delicious. Trust me, it's delicious. Yeah.
But it's not going to have that fresh taste that you got when you just
Can you
open the
buy one
bottle.
of those oxidation things in the stores?
You know, that's a great question. I don't know. We have lots of them here. So I would presume you could probably get one on Amazon if you really wanted one to keep your wine more fresh.
What can you not get it? Yeah, Amazon these
Right.
days. Okay, so tell us about refrigeration. You refrigerate like a sweet wine, or the blushes and the Zinfandels and white wines. When do you do that? Like, so say I buy one off the shelf and then I'm not going to drink it for a while because I know I'm going to have a dinner party in a few weeks. Do I start refrigerating it right away? And does it ever go bad?
If you start refrigerating it right away, it's not going to do anything to the wine. It's not going to mess it up. But you do want to make sure you get it in the refrigerator in time for it to be nice and chill.
Okay.
So, because those wines are just typically more enjoyable
Yeah.
if they have that good chill. You don't want people to be like, "Can I have some ice for my
Yeah.
wine?" So.
Yeah, like my bourbon. I put some ice in there, but like the BBR, like a good room temp BBR. So that's normal. So
Yes,
you're
your
like,
dry reds, you
all dry
absolutely
reds.
all dry reds. You
Okay.
want to enjoy them room temperature.
Okay, rock on.
One more question. So a lot of wine racks are, where the wines lay flat, like on their side, and like those wines over there on the rack, you guys can't see, but they're kind of tilted. So is that just because it's a round bottle and that's how it's easier to store, or is there a reason that wine racks are made where they're sideways? Like, is it to keep it?
I think it's just
slushed up?
functionality.
Okay.
It's just practical to have it turned. I actually have a nice pallet wood wine rack at home where the bottle stands straight up. So storing them, the position isn't necessarily important. What is important is a cool, dry, dark place. For example, I have a thing in my basement that is this nice wine rack that has, the dry reds, those kind of things. Because over time, not all wines get better with age. That's people think that it all does, but that's not necessarily accurate. So, so you want to make sure that you put them, because light definitely impacts your wine in a way that you wouldn't expect.
Right.
So,
Oh my gosh. You have answered so many questions of ours today. Finally.
With knowledge now. My brain's filled with knowledge.
It's just wine knowledge in there.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, maybe you're right.
Here's some crackers.
yes.
Well, Elisha, thank you so much for having us out to Wildside Winery. Corey's favorite. I caught on tape. That was awesome. Could you do it a second time?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's try. Wow,
Boom.
that's impressive.
He's been practicing.
Rushed it.
As Hunter Gardner would say, "Bam, what?" Yeah. We'll have to tag him. Okay, so Corey's favorite, no surprise, is the BBR. What is your all-time favorite Wildside Winery?
My
wine?
all-time favorite is the Malbec. It's been my favorite since the beginning. So it is a nice dry red, but it has these plum notes on the finish that just make my heart happy. I really love it.
All right, folks, you heard it right here from the expert, how to do it and some good tips on what to try out. So join their wine club. Come check them out right here on Troy Pike, Wildside Winery. Thanks so much, Elisha and Clint and everybody for having us out today. And to all of you, we'll see you next time.